Good morning, E-Rivers. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. Thank you. We are really super excited to be having events again at our school. So many of these events are what make E-Rivers a really special place, but we're also super excited that this special event today is celebrating STEAM Day. Who can tell me what the S in STEAM stands for? Or you just shout it out if you know. What about the T? There's a hard one, the E. Ooh, the A. And M. Some of you have been paying really good attention. I'm really proud of you. I also am going to be really proud of you today because you're going to represent E-Rivers to all of our guests. We have people from all over the city, from fantastic universities, from great corporations, and they haven't ever been to our school before. So we want to show them that E-Rivers Lions pay really good attention, that they ask good questions when it's time, and that they're principled. So please, boys and girls, we ask you to follow their directions and to be on your best behavior today for our guest, okay? You can do that. A special thanks goes to the PTA for putting this together today, and to Miss Benner and Mr. Holsing, and to Janie Britt's father, Michael. And Mr. Britt is going to talk to you next about our special presenter today.
Thank you, Dr. Waller. And thank you to Dr. Waller and the great faculty here at E-Rivers. Thank you also to Courtney Benner and Paul Hulsing. We would not be here able to put all this together without their help. Also, thank you to all of you, because I know that today is going to be a really fun day. You're going to learn a lot. There are parents here who are volunteering their time. There are people from corporations around the city. We've got people from Cox Communications, DuPont, Honeywell, Georgia Power, universities like Georgia Tech. You're going to hear from somebody from Georgia Tech here in just a minute. Oglethorpe University and others. So really, we've, I think, put together a really fun day for you guys. And I really look forward to the day. So I do want to share with you, we have a special speaker for you. It's called a keynote speaker. And a keynote speaker starts the day off. And what we're going to, who we're going to hear from is Leanne West. And she is the principal research scientist and chief engineer. So you heard science and engineering, right? Right? Of pediatric technology. She's got a couple of those letters, right? STE. She might even be an artist. I don't know, but certainly a lot of math and she's an artist. So we've got the ultimate STEAM Renaissance woman to talk to you today. So principal research scientist and chief engineer of pediatric technology at Georgia Tech. She's also the president of the International Children's Advisory Network, a nonprofit. So a nonprofit that helps promote the importance of pediatric patient voices in medical research. That's your voice. When you go see a doctor, and sometimes the doctor doesn't hear what you have to say, she works with children to learn how to speak to doctors. That's a really cool thing. As chief scientist, she serves as technical liaison. That means she connects on the technology between Georgia Tech and children's hospitals worldwide. Ms. West works closely with clinicians. Those are the people who do the research to understand and identify problems that need a solution to allow pediatric hospitals to better take care of their patients. You are the patients when you go to those pediatric hospitals like Children's Hospital. So thank you, Leanne West.
All right. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm happy to be here today to talk to all of you. So I'm going to tell you all about some things that I get to do that I think are really fun and cool as a scientist. So if you decide you want to be a scientist or work in technology, these are some of the things that you might be able to work on. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me first. I liked art as a kid, so I've always liked to draw and be an artist. I like puzzles, trying to figure things out. I was always okay at math, so that was good. I did not like anything that had to do with writing. I did not want to do anything with writing. But now I do it, all the time. I liked physics. So physics is an area in science. I think it's really cool because it kind of tells you the way the world works, like why things happen. That's physics, and I always find that really interesting. In college, I was a math major, and I was also a physics major. Again, math was kind of my thing, and science, I thought it was really cool. I liked learning about why things happen the way they do. So some of the cool things I've gotten to work on as a scientist at Georgia Tech is I've gotten to play around with night vision devices. They are awesome. If you've never seen what night vision devices do, if the scene is dark and you can't see anything at all, but you put on night vision devices, you're going to be able to see what's happening in front of you. And this is what it looks like where it's green and black. So seeing things that you can't normally see. Here's another thing where you can see things that you don't normally see. I don't know what that beeping is. All right. So thermal imagers. And so thermal imagers are picking up the heat in the scene. And so has anyone ever been to Yellowstone National Park? Yes, many of you. I love it there. It's one of my favorite places, and I actually got to go there for work. So work paid me to go hang out at Yellowstone National Park. And the cool thing about thermal imagers is you can also see in the dark, and you can see where the big black box is. You can't really see much there, maybe the road a little bit, but over to the right, you can see the trees and the skies and the animal walking down the road. And you couldn't see that at all if you were just looking. And the same for the deer in the bottom picture. The background is a totally black image in the visible, but looking at the heat signature, you can actually see the animal. And the same with Old Faithful. If you saw Old Faithful, it's kind of a cool new way to see Old Faithful because the different colors represent different temperatures. All right, one of my favorite things, I love sports. Who likes the Braves? Good. Excellent. So another thing that I got to do with a thermal imager was I got to be at Brave Stadium in the booth with all the people who are filming the game for TV. So I was standing right there with them, but we were looking at it in thermal range. So we were looking for heat. And one of the cool things that we did not know would happen is that when the batter hits and they hit a ball, it's not very good. So, but if they hit it and it goes out of the stadium, you know, all the energy from the baseball player has moved into that ball and carried it out into the outfield. But if they hit it and it just kind of hits the ground and dies, it's not very good. The energy from their swing did not go into the ball to make it fly out of the stadium. So when you hit a bad ball, you can actually see that bright stripe between the bat and the ball. That's heat being released when the ball is hit because that energy didn't go into the ball to make it fly out of the stadium. I also get to play with lasers a lot. So lasers are very cool, very fun. We use them for all sorts of different things. But one of them that I worked on was to shoot the laser beam up in the air, and it could tell you what it saw in the atmosphere. So if there's like pollution in the atmosphere or a lot of pollen or clouds, that's what you can see with shooting this laser beam up in the air. And so you can see the data there that says night and day. At night, everything's really calm and still, and you can see all those layers that kind of settle out during the night. But when the day starts getting hot and the sun starts rising, you can see where the little white line starts to go up and everything starts to get the same color. That's because the atmosphere is all mixing together because of the heat of the sun. All right, here's another one. One of my first inventions was building a captioning system for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. So there are some people who can't hear like a lot of you can, and so they want to get words so they know what's being said, so they can read it. And so we built a system that was before the days of cell phones, so a really long time ago. But we got to use it in places like movie theaters and sporting arenas. And so the very first day of a football game at the new Dallas Cowboys arena, I got to be there with a pass on to go anywhere I wanted to in the stadium. That means like the cool boxes where everything's really fancy. I got to be up there with the announcers. I got to go down to the field. And so it was a really, really fun experience to be able to do all those things. But why we were there was to test our technology and make sure that no matter where you were in the stadium, you could get those captions of what was being said. I also got to see movies before they were ever released, because this works with movie theaters too. So that was also very fun to see things before anybody else did. All right. Now, how many of y'all have had a shot? Lots of you, right? How many of you all really like to get a shot? It's your favorite thing to do with the doctor. All right. Some of you say that. I'm not sure I believe you, but maybe you think shots are terrible. Why do I have to get shots? Maybe you could use a microneedle patch. So this is not my work, but this is a guy that I work with, and he's made like a little Band-Aid. You can see it there. And that's how he's delivering a flu vaccine. And so instead of having to have a shot to get a flu vaccine, you can just put this little sticker on your arm, and that's your flu vaccine. And so it doesn't hurt anymore. So I think that that's pretty cool. Yeah, exactly. All right. So who likes 3D printing? Does anyone think 3D printing is cool? I do too. So there's a lot of science you can do with 3D printing and a lot of things you can do in healthcare. And some of the things that we do are, do you see the hands holding a little heart? What they do is they'll 3D print, say, a heart so that a surgeon can look at it and practice on an image of your heart, as opposed to trying to do something for the first time when they go in and do surgery. Who's had a cast? Probably people have had casts. They're not that fun to have, right? You can't reach in there and scratch because they itch all the time. But what if you had a 3D printed cast that could still hold your arm in the same place, but it's now open? And so you're not going to have some of those issues that you have when you wear a full cast. At the bottom, you see these things. It's a trachea. So the way that you breathe inside your body. Some kids are born with that trachea being collapsed, so it's closed, so they can't breathe. And so we have a guy who figured out how to help these kids. He 3D prints their trachea, and he 3D prints a stent especially made for their trachea so that these kids can breathe. It holds that trachea open so that you can breathe. And so these kids then get to have a normal life because now they can breathe. It's not good if you can't breathe. And then on the head, the skull, sometimes if you have to have surgery, they might take part of your skull away to go in there and do what they need to do. But you can 3D print a piece that goes back in its place. So I think that that's kind of cool too, because it's all made specifically for you. All right, who likes video games? Everybody. Who likes augmented reality? Does everybody know what augmented reality is? You wear that big headset? Okay. So as a part of my job, I actually developed some video games, and we also play with augmented reality. Very fun, very cool. Yes. So building video games for a living or working on augmented reality for a living is really fun. And there's certain things that we do with it in healthcare too, so they can be helpful to people, not just fun to play. And some of those things are, you see the kid with his hand grasping something. That's actually, he's trying to learn how to use his hand better. And the game is helping him do that. You see the girl kind of squatting in front of the TV. She's doing some exercise. So y'all might have had a video game that lets you kind of interact with it by wearing something. And then on the bottom, augmented reality, they use that to help some kids relax and calm down before a procedure, or maybe stay calm during a procedure, and kind of to distract you so you don't feel the pain or you aren't nervous. So that's another cool way you can use video games in science. And then on top of that, we talked about it's STEAM, so arts. You know who I need when I'm developing video games? I need an artist. I need someone who can make it look pretty and look cool. So if you can draw, You might like science too. All right, robotic exoskeleton. Kind of cool. Who likes Iron Man in the Marvel movies? Absolutely. And so that suit that Iron Man wears, is called an exoskeleton, and it makes him do things like be able to fly or hit stronger, right? Well, in science and in healthcare, there are some kids who can't walk very easily. Their legs don't work quite right. And so they wear these braces on their legs, and that's also called an exoskeleton. So think of it as a brace. You've probably seen athletes wear them. And this one, though, is special because it has robots inside of it. Who likes robots? See, as a scientist, you could play with robots all day. And this robot actually is smart enough to help the person walk. It knows if you're walking upstairs or walking up an incline or just walking across a flat floor. And when you do it, the robot is smart enough to help you figure out how to walk a little bit easier and a little bit better. All right. Preventing infection. Who's had like a cold or the flu, anything like that? It's no fun. We know that. Well, sometimes in the hospital, if you're in the hospital, you can catch an infection from the hospital. Also no fun, also no good. And so this is kind of a more sciencey type slide. Who's ever played with Petri dishes? Anybody? Have y'all done that yet? A few of you. Okay. So the little circles at the bottom are Petri dishes. And they're kind of cool because they grow bacteria. So if you touch them, all the bacteria on your hand is going to go on the Petri dish and it's going to grow and make things like you see where it says underneath nothing, where it's kind of all yellow on the circle. That is all bacteria. Yuck. And that's if you touch it. This is to clean connectors in the hospital. And this is where a lot of infections start because a lot of dirt can get into that little cap where the red and white arrow is because it's got crevices in it. And what they do right now is they use kind of little towelettes with alcohol on them. So you know those little square packages you can get at a restaurant sometimes, and you open it and it has like a little wet towel in there. Well, that's what they use right now in hospitals to clean those connectors. And so we have a guy who said, that's ridiculous. We can make this better because you see that there's still a lot of bacteria there after they clean it. Not good. And so he built a little sugar cube sponge that's filled with alcohol so that when he cleans it with his new invention, there's no bacteria growing. It really got rid of everything. So that's so much better in healthcare. And so that's kind of a cool thing too. If you know, you like growing things in Petri dishes, he's a material scientist guy. So he plays with different materials all the time and comes up with different things to do with materials. All right, this one is cool. So we have COVID going on. That's why we're wearing masks. That's why we're all separated. COVID is no fun. It's a virus. And I don't know if you know how a virus hurts your cells, but generally speaking, if you catch a virus, you're sick for a couple of days, you have a fever, you might cough and sneeze. And the way the virus does that is it goes to your cells, it goes inside your cells, it replicates and makes a whole lot more of itself. And then when it does that, the cell eventually bursts and releases all of those viruses out into your body so they can go infect other cells. So virus is not good. However, we do have a guy at Georgia Tech who knows all about viruses. That's what he does. He knows everything that they do. And he is working on getting them to find a cancer cell, go into the cancer cell and kill the cancer cell as opposed to killing your good cells and to help you get rid of cancer. So in this situation, he's making a virus do something good by making it kill cancer cells in your body. So that's kind of cool, I think. You know, viruses are always something you think are bad. All right. Some other things, I did see a service dog walking around earlier, so I think you're going to get to see service dogs later. But some people who are scientists work with animals all the time. And so we have somebody on campus. The reference you all probably won't get with Lassie, but the adults probably will. There was a TV show where a little boy would talk to his dog and the dog would bark and he would say, oh, okay, Jimmy's lost in the well. But really you can't understand him. And we have somebody at Georgia Tech, though, who's made service dogs be able to talk. And so they wear a special vest and they have little tabs on them. And each of those tabs has a different function. And so it might be that the dog needs to go find somebody and say, my owner needs help. So he could go over and pull the tab, and it would speak, "My owner needs help, follow me to wherever you're supposed to go." The other thing it can do is it can pull a different tab, and it will call 911 and give information to 911 if their owner needs help in their house. So I think that's really cool that you can talk to animals, or that animals can talk back to you in a way that you can understand. Cool. All right. This is not my research, but who here has been to the beach and really likes going to the beach? Yes. And who likes dolphins? Are dolphins like the coolest thing at the beach? Yes, they are. All right. So we have a guy, and he likes to study dolphins because why not? They're awesome. So that's what he gets to do all day. And he has figured out that dolphins actually have names for each other. And I think that's the coolest research at Georgia Tech ever. So literally, he's figured out that they call each other by name. Who knew? Let's see. All right. And here is my last slide. So earlier it was said that I'm the president of something called the International Children's Advisory Network. And we are there to help doctors understand what it's like to be you, and to give you the ability to talk to them and have them listen. And we made a book recently. And my page in the book, I say, "Hi, my name is Leanne West. I was told I wasn't smart enough to do both math and science. So I'm telling you all the cool stuff that I do as a scientist. I was told that I wasn't smart enough to do any of that, but I can. And now I'm a mathematician, and I'm a physicist, and I get to build cool technologies and play with cool technologies. And I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So don't ever think that you're not smart enough to do something, because you are. The only person who gets to say what you can and can't do is you. So I think you're going to have fun in science, and I think you're going to have a really fun day today. Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, boys and girls.
This way.
All right, boys and girls, if you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. Guys, let's give Miss West a huge round of applause. That was awesome. Boys and girls, I hope you can see all of the fun things that you can do if you apply yourself and put your mind to your work in science and technology and engineering and in art and in math class. Those were some fantastic advances that we've made with technology. And I can't wait to see what your generation is going to bring to the table. So boys and girls, we are getting ready to go back to our classes. At this time, we're going to have our third graders, but I don't want everybody to get up all at once. So our third grade class will release an order of rows. If you all could take the back steps and go back to your classroom. Fifth grade, if you all could exit out of this door and take the front steps and go back to your classroom. We'll start with the last class for fifth grade in the back, the last row, and the first row for third graders. Boys and girls, you did a fantastic job. Enjoy your rest of your day.